Hello everyone! Welcome to this English course on adverbs. And in this video, we're going to talk about adverbs. Now, the simplest definition of an adverb is that it's a word that describes or modifies a verb. Now, actually, adverbs can modify other parts of the sentence, like other adverbs. But in this video, we will focus on verbs and 4 kinds of adverbs. Adverbs of time, adverbs of place, of manner, and adverbs of degree. Usually, they will answer the following questions about the verbs: when, where, how, and to what extent. Let's look at these sentences. The boy ran, and then we have the boy ran excitedly. Now, this example shows the power of adverbs. In the second sentence, you find out how the boy ran. In the first sentence, you don't have any information on how the boy ran. So in the second sentence, we find out that the boy was very excited. So it's very important to understand adverbs and understand how to use them, because they will make you speak English a lot better. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the position of an adverb. So where do we put the adverb in the sentence? Now, that is a bit tricky because the adverb in an English sentence can be in different parts of the sentence. Let's look at a few examples. She climbed the mountain slowly. Slowly, she climbed the mountain. She slowly climbed the mountain. Can you guess which word is the adverb? The word slowly is the adverb. It describes how she climbed the mountain. And as you can see, the adverb is in 3 different parts of the sentence, but the meaning is exactly the same. Let's now talk about how to make adverbs. Now, most adverbs, not all of them, but most of them, end in ly. So it's actually very easy. You take the adjective and you add ly at the end. Let's look at a few examples. If you have the adjective nice and you add ly to it, you make the adverb nicely. So, for example, you could say, he is a nice speaker, using the adjective nice. But you could also use the adverb nicely and say, he speaks nicely. A second example, if we take the adjective quick and we add ly, we can make the adverb quickly. So we could say, he is a quick runner, but we could also say, he runs quickly. Be careful, guys. Not all adverbs end in ly. Some adjectives don't change form when they become adverbs. They're called flat adverbs. Typical flat adverbs would be early or late and a few others. And it's very important to know these flat adverbs because a lot of my students try to add ly to some adjectives, and unfortunately they make incorrect sentences. So let's take a look at an example. Okay, if I tell you the car drove fastly, do you think that makes sense? Now, it does make sense to try to add ly to the adjective fast, but unfortunately, guys, fastly does not exist in English. So the correct sentence is, the car drove fast. Another example. He arrived late or lately to class. What do you think is the correct answer? Again, it makes sense to try to add ly to the adjective late, but lately is not the adverb of the adjective late. The adverb is late. So the correct sentence is, he arrived late to class. Let's now take a look at a few sentences to practice finding and making adverbs that modify verbs. Now remember, adverbs tell us so much about the verb. Usually they tell us when or where or how or to what degree. So the first example we have is, he easily lifted the box. Can you spot the adverb in this sentence? Of course, the adverb is easily, ending in ly, okay? And it tells us how he lifted the box. It's an adverb of manner. Now the second sentence, and this is a bit more difficult. I will download the file tomorrow. Now where is the adverb? Because there is no word ending in ly, so it's a bit more complicated. Well, the adverb is tomorrow, and it tells you when. It's an adverb of time, and these are sometimes a bit more difficult. Make sure you watch my next video. I will talk about them. Our third example now. I put it there. Again, no word ending in ly. The adverb is the word there, and it tells us where. It's an adverb of place. We will talk about them in our next videos as well. And our last example, you didn't study enough for the test. The adverb is the word enough, and it's an adverb of degree. Okay, it tells us to what degree. Again, it's not a word ending in ly, and we will talk about adverbs of degree in our next videos. Remember guys, it's very important to understand adverbs and to know how to make them. They will make you speak English so much better. And this video was only a quick introduction to adverbs in English. In our next videos, we will focus on each kind of adverb, so make sure you watch the rest of the course. Thank you for watching my video and see you next time. Thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you liked it and found it useful. If you have, please show me your support. Click like, subscribe to the channel, put your comments below if you have any, and share the video with your friends. See you! Hello everyone! Welcome to this English course on adverbs. And in this video, I'm going to focus on adverbs of time. Now, adverbs of time tell us when an action happens and also how long and how often. Now, these adverbs are extremely common in English, so you really need to know about them. So let's start learning together. Let's now take a look at a few example sentences telling us when something happened. She ate ice cream yesterday. The adverb in this sentence is, have you noticed? Yesterday, of course, and it's an adverb of time. When did you eat ice cream? Yesterday. I see you now. Now, where is the adverb in this sentence? Of course, the adverb is now. Again, it's an adverb of time. When do I see you? Now. I tell him daily. The adverb is daily. Again, adverb of time. We met last year. Can you see the adverb? Of course, the adverb in this case is last year. Again, notion of time. When did we meet? Last year. And finally, he will call you later. The adverb in this sentence is also an adverb of time. It is later. So these are all adverbs of time. And as you can see in those examples, usually adverbs of time are at the end of the sentence. Let's now move on to example sentences showing us how long something happened. These adverbs are also usually placed at the end of the sentence. But let's have a look. She stayed home all day. Which part of this sentence is an adverb? Can you see it? Of course, all day. And it tells us how long she stayed home. I studied in Canada for a year. Now in this sentence, for a year tells us how long I studied in Canada. He has taught English since 1990. How long has he taught English? Since 1990. I studied English for 4 hours. Which part is the adverb? For 4 hours. How long did I study English? For 4 hours. And finally, we have lived in New Zealand since 2005. The adverb is, of course, since 2005. As you can see, adverbs are not necessarily just one word, okay? Since 2005, 2 words. For 4 hours, 3 words. Okay, so they're not just one word. Sometimes they're more than one. Adverbs telling us how often express the frequency of an action. They're usually placed before the main verb, but after the auxiliary verb, such as be, may, have, or must. The only exception is if the main verb is the verb to be, in which case the adverb goes after the main verb. Let's have a look at a few example sentences. I often eat pizza. Can you spot the adverb? It's often, and as you can see, it is placed before the main verb, which is eat. So I often eat. The second example, he has never drunk cola. In this case, we have an auxiliary verb, the auxiliary verb have, and the main verb is drunk. So the adverb is placed between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. He has never drunk. You must always brush your teeth. Same rule applies. We have an auxiliary verb, must, okay, and we have the main verb, brush. So the adverb goes after the auxiliary verb, but before the main verb. You must always brush. I am seldom late. So the main verb is the verb to be. Be careful. So in this case, the adverb goes after the main verb. I am seldom late. And finally, he rarely lies. The main verb is lies, so the adverb goes before the main verb. He rarely lies. Okay? Some adverbs expressing how often express the exact number of times that an action happened. They're called definite adverbs of frequency. And in this case, they're usually placed at the end of the sentence. Let's have a look at a few examples. I visit my dentist yearly. The adverb is yearly, okay, once a year, and it expresses the exact number of times that I visit my dentist. It's a definite adverb of frequency, so it's placed at the end of the sentence. Other example, he goes to the gym once a week. Again, we have a definite adverb of frequency, which is once a week. I work 5 days a week. Same thing, we have a definite adverb of frequency, which is 5 days a week, so it's placed at the end of the sentence. And finally, I saw the movie 5 times. Again, 5 times expresses the exact number of times that I saw the movie. Now, if you want to use more than one adverb of time in a sentence, you should put them in the following order. First, how long? Second, how often? And finally, when? Let's take a look at a very good example sentence. He taught at the school for 10 days every month last year. Now, as you can see, first we're told how long for 10 days. Then we're told how often, every month. And finally, we're told when exactly, last year. This is a very good sentence using the different kinds of adverbs of time in the right order. So I hope you can do the same. Okay guys, let's do a bit of extra practice. I have 4 example sentences for you to spot adverbs of time. So let's get started. He has been to Canada 3 times. Can you spot the adverb? Of course, the adverb is the adverb of frequency 3 times. Okay? How often has he been to Canada? 3 times. The second example is, generally, I don't like to eat spicy food. The adverb is generally, and remember I told you some adverbs of frequency work well at the beginning of a sentence if you want to emphasize the frequency. So generally is one of them. Another example would be sometimes. Next example, he will clean his room regularly from now on. Now be careful, in this case we have 2 adverbs. The first one, regularly. The second one, from now on. Keeping the order, regularly is how often, followed by when, from now on. And finally, I've been going to church for 4 days every month since 1996. 3 adverbs in this case. How long? For 4 days. How often? Every month. When? Since 1996. Okay guys, you now know a lot more about adverbs of time. Remember, these adverbs are extremely common in English, so it's very important for you to learn about them. They will improve your English skills very quickly, okay? Now, there are obviously other types of adverbs, adverbs of place, of manner, and of degree, and I will focus on these in my next videos, so check them out. Thank you for watching my video, and see you next time. Thank you very much guys for watching my video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please show me your support. Click like, subscribe to the channel, put your comments below if you have some, and share it with all your friends. See you! Hello everyone, welcome to this English course on adverbs. In this video, we're going to talk about adverbs of place. Adverbs of place tell us where an action happens. They could also give us information on direction, distance, or movement. Let's take a look at a quick example. Let's go and play outdoors. Now, in this sentence, the adverb of place is outdoors. It answers the question where. Where? Outdoors. Okay? Now let's learn a bit more about adverbs of place together. Let's get started. First, let's talk a bit about here and there. Here and there are two adverbs of place that relate specifically to the speaker. Here meaning close to the speaker, close to me. There meaning farther away. Okay, let's take a look at a few examples. I put my keys there. So the adverb there indicating the location of the keys, and they're a bit farther away from me. Okay? Second example, please come here. Here being the adverb, meaning to me. So these adverbs are placed at the end of the sentence, but you can also put them at the beginning if you want to emphasize the location. For example, here are your keys. Here, close to me. There is your umbrella. Over there, farther away. So in these two cases, I want to emphasize the location, so I place the adverb at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, guys? Let's now take a look at adverbs of movement and directions. Some adverbs end in W-A-R-D or W-A-R-D-S, it's the same thing, and they express movement in a particular direction. For example, homeward or homewards, backward or backwards, forward or forwards, onward or onwards. So they express a movement and they specify a particular direction. Let's take a look at a few example sentences. We drove eastwards or eastward. It would be the exact same thing. The children looked upwards at the stars. You need to move forward one step. So each time you have a movement specifying the direction of this movement. Okay? Some adverbs express both movement and location at the same time. For example, when I say the child went indoors, there's a movement. The child goes into the house, but it's also a location. He's inside, indoors. Another example would be, he's going abroad. It's a movement, but it's also a location, abroad, in another country. Finally, I could say, the rock rolled downhill. There's the movement going down, but it's also a location. Everywhere, somewhere, anywhere, or nowhere are adverbs of place as well. But they are special because they describe a location or direction that is indefinite or unspecific. For example, I looked everywhere for my car keys. I'd like to go somewhere for my vacation. We're going nowhere. Is there anywhere to get a coffee? Just so you know, some adverbs can also be prepositions. Now, the difference is that an adverb stands alone. A preposition is always followed by a noun. So, for example, outside. Outside can be an adverb. For example, we were waiting outside. It's an adverb, it stands alone. But it can also be a preposition. For example, We were waiting outside his office. Goes with a noun. Another example, I kicked the ball around. Around is an adverb in this case, it stands alone. But it can also be a preposition. I kicked the ball around the field. It goes with a noun. Okay? So an adverb stands alone, a preposition is followed by a noun. Okay guys, let's do a bit of extra practice. I have a few example sentences for you to spot adverbs of place. First example, John looked around, but he couldn't find his wife. Now remember, adverbs of place answer the question, where? Can you spot the adverb here? Of course, it's the word around. Where did John look? He looked around. Second example, I searched everywhere I could think of. Now, where did I search? Everywhere. Everywhere is the adverb. Let's go back. Now, what's the adverb in this sentence? It's back, of course. Where? Back. Next example, come in. Where? In. Okay, the adverb is in. Okay, so adverbs of place answer the question where. Okay guys, you now know a lot more about adverbs of place. Now I know it's hard to learn about all these adverbs, but don't worry, you'll get there. You just need a bit of practice, okay? Now, I'm going to carry on talking about adverbs in my next videos, so make sure to watch them. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Thank you so much guys for watching our video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please show us your support. Click like, subscribe to the channel, put your comments below, always nice, and share the video with your friends. See you! Hello everyone and welcome to this English course on adverbs. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about adverbs of degree. Adverbs of degree tell us about the intensity of something, the power of something. Now in English, they're usually placed before the adjective or adverb or verb that they modify. But obviously, as always, there are exceptions. There are very common adverbs of degree that I'm sure you use all the time. To, enough, very, extremely. But there are so many others. Okay, so let's dive into it and learn about adverbs of degree. Let's have a look at a few examples of adverbs of degree, especially how they are used with adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. Now, adverbs of degree are usually placed before the adjectives and adverbs that they modify, and before the main verb of the sentence. For example, in the sentence, the water was extremely cold. You have the adjective cold and the adverb extremely that modifies the adjective cold. And as you can see, the adverb is placed before the adjective that it modifies. Second example, he just left. In this case, the adverb just comes before the verb left, which is the main verb of the sentence. She is running very fast. Now in this case, we have two adverbs. The adverb fast and the adverb very that modifies the adverb fast. And as you can see, our adverb very is placed before the adverb that it modifies. And finally, they are completely exhausted from the trip. The adverb completely modifies the adjective exhausted and is therefore placed before it. I hope you understand, guys. Let's move on. Some very common adverbs of degree in English are enough, very, and to. Let's look at a few examples. Is your coffee hot enough? So in this case, our adverb enough modifies the adjective hot. He didn't work hard enough. In that case, our adverb enough modifies another adverb, the adverb hard. And as you can see, the adverb enough is usually placed after the adjective or adverb that it modifies. Another example is very. The girl was very beautiful. So the adverb very modifies our adjective beautiful. He worked very quickly. So in this case, our adverb very modifies the adverb quickly. And as you can see, very is usually placed before the word that it modifies. And finally, our third example is too. This coffee is too hot. It modifies the adjective hot. He works too hard. In that case, too modifies the adverb hard. And as you can see, too is usually placed before the word that it modifies. Okay, hope you got it. Let's move on. Okay guys, let's do a little bit of extra practice with a few example sentences. He speaks very quickly. Can you spot the adverb of degree? It's very, and it modifies the other adverb of the sentence, quickly. He speaks too quickly. Now, another very common adverb of degree, too. Be very careful. There's a difference between very and too. Very is a fact. Too means there's a problem. Okay, he speaks so quickly that you cannot understand. He speaks too quickly. Another example, my teacher is terribly angry. Where is the adverb of degree? It's the adverb terribly that modifies the adjective angry. They were almost finished. Can you spot the adverb? It's almost, and it modifies the verb finished. Okay, so we're not finished yet, we're almost finished. And finally, this box isn't big enough. The adverb of degree in this case is the adverb enough, and it modifies our adjective big. And remember, enough usually goes after the word that it modifies. Okay, I hope you get it, guys. Okay guys, you now know a lot more about adverbs of degree, and I'm sure this video will help you improve your English. But keep practicing. And make sure you watch the other videos on adverbs. They're very useful as well. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you guys for watching my video. If you like it, please show me your support. Click like, subscribe to our channel, put your comments below and share it with all your friends. See you! Hello everyone, welcome to this English course on adverbs. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about adverbs of manner. Adverbs of manner tell you how something happens, and they're usually placed after the main verb or after its object. Let's take a look at a few sentences. He swims well. The adverb well tells you how he swims and is placed after the main verb swims. He plays the piano beautifully. The adverb beautifully tells you how he plays the piano and is placed after the piano, which is the object of the verb to play. Hope you get it. Let's get into more detail now. Adverbs of manner are usually placed after the main verb or after the object. For example, he left the room quickly. The adverb quickly is placed after the object, the room. Now, just so you know, some adverbs, not all of them, but some adverbs can also be placed before the verb. So in this case, you can also say, he quickly left the room. What's very important for you to know is that an adverb of manner cannot come between a verb and its direct object. Okay, so it must be placed either before the main verb or after at the end of the clause. So let's take a look at a few examples. He ate quickly his dinner. Now, this sentence is incorrect. Okay, ate is the verb, his dinner, it's the direct object of the verb. So the adverb quickly cannot be placed between those two. Okay, so you should say, he ate his dinner quickly. The adverb is at the end, and that's correct. Or, he quickly ate his dinner. That's also correct. The adverb is placed before the main verb. Another example. He gave me gently a hug. Now this is incorrect. You cannot separate the verb give from its direct object, a hug. So two correct sentences would be, first, he gave me a hug gently with the adverb at the end of the sentence, or he gently gave me a hug. The adverb comes before the verb. Hope you get it. Time now to practice. Here are a few example sentences for you to spot the adverbs of manner. He swam well. As you can see, we use the adverb well. It tells you how he swam, and it's placed after the main verb swam. The rain fell hard. Again, our adverb hard tells you how the rain fell and is placed after the verb. The children were playing happily. The adverb is, can you find it? Happily, of course. She angrily slammed the door. Can you see the adverb? It's angrily. How did she slam the door? Angrily. And finally, slowly she picked up the flower. Can you spot the adverb of manner? It's slowly. And it's at the beginning of the sentence because we want to emphasize the manner. And this is also something very common when you read books. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Please make sure you watch the other videos on adverbs and keep practicing. Adverbs are extremely common in English and they will make you speak a lot better. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Thank you so much guys for watching my video. If you like it, please show me your support. Click like, subscribe to the channel, put your comments below if you have some, and share it with all your friends. See you!